I am a stand-up comedian by trade.
Even in the airport, this woman came up to me. She's like, "Sir, have you found Jesus?" And I was just like, man, how do you keep losing this guy?
וירב העם עם משה, ויאמרו תנו לנו מים ונשתה. The people quarreled with Moses and said, "Give us water to drink."
For me as a kid, I never rebelled against faith. I loved going to Jewish day school. I loved being the guy who could lead the prayers every morning in school. My teachers nicknamed me Little Rabbi. To me, those were like comic book adventures, hearing about Moses parting the Red Sea and Jonah getting swallowed by the whale. All these stories happened in this magical place called Israel, which to me was like Oz. The trip that really connected me with the land was when I was 17 years old. I fell in love with Israel and Israelis.
Oh, they called my name. I'm going in.
I joined the Israeli army after college. I feel like in the States, I was often encouraged to not make trouble as a Jew. You know, when we go on field trips with school, I'd sometimes take off my yarmulke so other schools wouldn't, I wouldn't stand out to them. And I loved being in a country where I could wear the yarmulke and not feel like I had to explain what it was. And the fact that there were soldiers who could defend that right. Being in the army really humanized the Palestinian-Israeli conflict for me. By far, most of the Israelis I served with would love to see an end to the conflict. They want to live in peace. They want to travel to the US after their army service. They want to go to university and not have to worry about fighting an enemy that they don't even consider a personal enemy of their own. And I'm convinced most Palestinians on the street want peace with Israel as well. In the Middle East, war is personal. Every teenager is drafted when he or she is 18. And because every one of these kids had a father and probably a grandfather too who served in a war, that means that war takes on a very personal element. I'm convinced that Palestinians feel the same way. So that means if war is personal, I think peace has to be personal too. It's not enough to have leaders come together and sign papers. Both sides have to educate their young people and get the young people meeting together to see and interact with the other side. I think it might take another generation of children on both sides who grow up seeing the Middle East not as a place of conflict, but as a place with potential. I think Israel also has to elect leaders that do not have a strong military background. You don't want all of your problems to be solved in a military fashion. You need people who are visionaries and who can see the region through the eyes of peace, not just of conflict. I think religion adds so much to that region. It's what makes the region special. But I think ultimately people have to get over some of the religious biases that they have toward the land and the meaning they associate with borders, and think more in terms of humanity. A Temple Mount isn't worth anything if people are dying constantly for it. Nor are rivers or mountains. It only has value if people can live there and live in peace.